Hello, dear friends. Many secret movements are taking place all over the world, but they cannot rely on unconfirmed rumors, but on the most visible part of the global change, spiritual above all, which starts with economy, follows with politics, continues with the new medicine, and ends with many gadgets that will make our lives easier. Opinion article: Uprising against bankers. Silver unseats gold in the markets. This is the most visible part of the global shift. Patriots call for the purchase of precious metals. Spanish roots of Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon. They are losing the ability to manipulate us with fear. House of Representatives expels Marjorie Greene. Democrats call on Trump to testify on his impeachment. Establishment wants a reality Czar to crush dissent. Let's start. We watch with curiosity a popular rebellion against bankers that began with an attack on short sellers in the stock market and is now focusing on sellers in the silver market. It's not true that there are no evictions. They are still happening, but the bankers have managed to make invisible this immense human suffering of a family being left stranded on the street. The Lone Ranger left silver bullet as a reminder. Lone Ranger, I mean El Llanero Solitario. As a reminder of his vigilance against evil, recalls Benjamin Fulford. In addition, patriotic channels are asking people to buy silver and gold to restore the backing of currencies by precious metals, something that Trump would have already signed, according to them, as Rafapal stated yesterday. Silver has ousted gold in the markets. Gold no longer shines so brightly in the markets. The health crisis has not made the most conservative investors opt for this asset as a traditional safe haven. It has just closed a not at all favorable January, with losses at some points that have come close to 4% and have finally ended with falls of 1.9%. Gold falls below $1,800. Gold fell more than 2% on Thursday, to below the psychological level of 1,800 a troy ounce, as the dollar and treasury yields dented the valiant's appeal. The silver rush. Silver attracted a lot of investor attention thanks to Reddit users. However, the price of this asset was poised to rise even before the netizens looked at it. In the long run, there will be several factors that will inflate its price extremely, with or without the participation of social networks, noted famous broker Peter Schiff. The metal has been used as a means of payment for thousands of years. As fiat money continues to devalue, silver and gold tend to hold their value. Currently, the Federal Reserve and other central banks are printing new banknotes like never before, noted the president and owner of Euro-Pacific Capital Agency. While Reddit users could trade the price of silver futures contracts, silver will continue to hold its underlying value. Looking at the long-term perspective, buying silver at $27 an ounce is a plus, with or without the attention of Reddit investors. Geologists estimate that approximately 19 ounces of silver lie in the Earth's crust for every ounce of gold. Silver remains historically undervalued compared to gold. Even taking into account the recent rise in its price, the silver to gold value ratio is still over 60 to 1. This is a historical high ratio. The value ratio simply explains how many ounces of silver it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold. In 1873, following other Western nations, the US Congress passed a Coinage Act, which formally demonetized silver and established the gold standard. Since the world moved to a monetary system based entirely on fiat money, there was a certain correlation between the silver to gold value ratio and the printing of banknotes by central banks. Final battle. The Davos people say they want to have a great reset and create a more just society while helping the environment. However, when you look at what they are actually doing, you can see that they are finally really fighting to keep control of the planet, inoculating everyone to obey and appeasing them with a digital basic income tied to this condition. But they are losing the ability to manipulate us with fear. Unconfirmed rumors say that the currency reset began on Monday, February 1st, and that the central banking system ceased to exist. The non-terrestrial QFS quantum financial system mainframe would now be in control of the world financial system. In other words, the real leadership works in secret and behind the scenes. What we are experiencing is described as the final battle against a 5,000-year-old evil that has invaded our planet. The use of chips as remote controls for the human brain is a real project. They want to be able to remotely cause us extreme pain or pleasure, but they will not succeed as long as we fight for our freedom. News brief. Or better said, short news. Punishing Republican Congresswoman. The U.S. House of Representatives voted Thursday to strip Marjorie Taylor Greene of 2 assignments on high-profile committees, punishing the Republican Congresswoman for comments against Democrats. Harold Meyerson wants all Republicans put on a watch list. In an article he wrote for the American Prospect, columnist Harold Meyerson suggested that all Republicans should be put on a watch list because some of them have said bad things about Democrats. Democrats call on Trump to testify in his impeachment. The Democrats' top impeachment trial man, Republican Jamie Raskin, invited the former president to testify before the Senate during or before his trial. Trump's lawyer rejected a request. The former president's team devised a request for him to testify under oath in the pending Senate impeachment trial, but attorney David Schoen claimed in response that Raskin was attempting in a public relations stunt by sending the letter to the former president. There is no negative interference in this anti-constitutional process, he added. His letter would only confirm that everyone knows. He cannot prove his allegations against the 45th president, who is now a private citizen. They tried to kill Trump again last week, and poison was found in the First Lady's makeup. If they can't win, they cheat, and if they can't cheat, they kill. Starmatic sues Fox, Giuliani, and Sidney Powell. Election software firm Starmatic has sued attorneys Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell over alleged allegations. The defamation suit, which was filed Thursday in Manhattan Court in New York State, seeks damages of $2.7 billion. Establishment wants a reality Czar to crush dissent. On February 2nd, the New York Times published an article titled how the Biden administration can help solve our reality crisis. In the article, writer Kevin Roose spoke with experts who offered suggestions of how unify citizens around so-called reality by eliminating so-called disinformation and alleged conspiracy theories. One of the suggestions was that Biden should create, in their view, a reality czar to oversee censorship of disinformation and surveillance of conspiracy theorists. Church of Rome received $3 billion. More than 200 U.S. Catholic dioceses received billions of dollars in funds from the Paycheck Protection Program, the taxpayer-backed bailout fund to rescue businesses dying during crisis-related closures, more than any other applicant. Europe. German nuns rented orphans as to businessmen. A report that has been withheld from public documents, abuse that was facilitated by nuns belonging to the Catholic Archdiocese of Cologne in Germany, the Daily Beast reported. Twitter and Facebook could be blocked in Russia. Popular platforms such as Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, as well as messaging services such as Telegram and video site TikTok, could be unavailable in Russia if they do not ban illegal calls to participate in protests. Europe regulates inoculation. The Dutch Health Council has followed other medical regulators, such as Germany, in limiting its approval of the injectable to those over the age of 65. Spain. Spain could allow the gender change by oath. If a bill Irene Montero is currently proposing in the Spanish parliament goes ahead, transgender people could change their official gender simply by swearing that they are male, female, or neither. Amazon founders, Spanish roots. The Bezos surname comes from Spain, although its best-known bearer is American. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, received it from his paternal grandfather, a man who was born in a small town in the province of Valladolid, specifically in Villafrechos, a small town in Valladolid of just over 500 inhabitants. His grandfather, Salvador Bezos, was born into a family with a certain purchasing power. However, economic complications forced the Bezos family to emigrate to Cuba. On the island, he had his son Miguel Ángel, the current father of the businessman. Curious news, or bizarre news. 143 new Nazca Line drawings discovered. Japanese archaeologists have discovered 143 new drawings on the famous Nazca Lines in Peru, including one found using artificial intelligence. The drawings on the ground depict humanoids, animals, and other strange beings, and believed to date from at least 300 years before Christ to 100 after Christ. Researchers spent 10 years studying the Nazca Pampa, a 200 square mile desert plain near the foothills of the Andes Mountains, where the enigmatic line drawings are found. Egyptian Dominican archaeological mission discovers mummies with golden tanks near Alexandria. An Egyptian Dominican archaeological mission discovered mummies with a golden tank dating back nearly 2,000 years near Alexandria. The mission discovered 16 tombs carved in the rock in the temple of Osiris Magna, west of Alexandria, in northern Egypt. These tombs contain several mummies in a poor state of preservation, but with amulets wrapped in gold leaves in the shape of a tongue. These were placed in the mouths of the deceased according to an observed practice to ensure that they could speak in the afterlife. Mass surface riddled with giant sinkholes. A new scientific theory suggests that a thin layer of water ice exists just below the surface of much of Mars' arid landscape. This ice would heat up under sunlight and loosen debris from the surface, facilitating the generation of many violent storms on the red planet that would lose the debris. Subsurface interactions between the water ice, chloride salts and sulfates create huge sinkholes beneath this debris, which would add even more challenges to the human habitability of this inhospitable planet by turning the landscape into vast dusty sinkholes and swamps. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.